Hello, it's Emma Mills here and welcome to episode 73 of MiTV. And today I'm going to be talking about taking responsibility, whether you're in a job, whether you run a business, but you taking responsibility for things going well. So a couple of weeks ago, we send out emails twice a week to our list with MiTV, with other kind of value and content that I put out. And this particular email was about how I am prepping to take holidays this year so that my business runs as well as it can without me. And that I can obviously enjoy my holiday without having to be glued to my laptop all the time. So it was based around what I'm delegating, who's looking after what, how the process that I'm going through, because this is the first time that I'm offloading as much as I am. So I was just quite interested. I got one particular response back from a gentleman on my list. We haven't communicated before, emails back and forth. And he commented to say, great email, really enjoyed reading it. However, not helpful to him because of a few particular things, which included the UK workforce as a rule generally being badly trained, so it was difficult to find staff. The other thing was that if a customer can't get hold of him, they will ring the next person on the list, so a competitor, and that also his clients, he has a relationship with his clients, so they specifically want to speak to him and won't speak to other members of his team. So he did say he really loved the email, however, XYZ, so not really much use. Now, I completely understand the things that he's talking about there and how they will affect his business. But what I don't understand is the complete shutdown on the fact that none of this is solvable and the fact that the whole UK workforce is badly trained. Now, of course, it's up to a business to make sure their own staff are trained amazingly well, both in skill and attitude, to do a good job for the customers. So, we have members of the team here that have not been PAs before or necessarily come through the route of what they do now, but we train them and shape them, and the culture and everything comes together to make them into super PAs and super, exceptional receptionists. So we take the responsibility to make sure that the people that come into my PA are then continually trained so that we can deliver an amazing service. If somebody can't get hold of me, they will ring the office, and obviously all of our calls are answered. So it's not like they would not be able to get hold of us. So that is a problem that's very solvable. If somebody can't get hold of this gentleman, they ring his competitor. You can get your calls answered. And then the other point being that they don't want to speak to members of his team. Now, of course, when I started my business 10 years ago, for 5 years, I was a freelance, a self-employed VA. So I had my own clients, and then I took on somebody part-time. And I had to make this transition because at that point, the way that I took on somebody part-time was completely organically. I took on so many clients that I was working days, evenings, weekends, to the point where I was about to burst. And then when I took somebody on, I handed over some of these customers for my new member of the team, my very first member of the team, to start to look after. So, and of course that was a transition in itself. She would do the work, but of course the client would still call me to ask questions. And it was a slow process at that point for me. I grew my business without investment very, very organically. So it was a very slow process, but these things can happen. Now, nobody expects me to provide the PA support to them. I will speak to existing customers, new prospects about the service, but I'm not actually delivering any of it. And I don't think most people would expect that I am delivering it. But again, this was a long process. And, I've had my business 10 years, but these things are solvable. So to have this mindset of there are all these problems and I can't solve them with that is very kind of self-limiting. And of course there will be things that happen that maybe are unchangeable, you didn't expect, but then it's how you deal with them and move forward. So one of the biggest things I've learned, and you'll know by now that I'm a member of the Entrepreneur Circle, and there's a big sign on the wall that says everything is 100% your fault. It's your responsibility. As soon as you start to abdicate responsibility as the leader of your business, it's not a good place to be. So it's so important to make sure that you understand that of course things will happen, and things will happen that are not great, you don't expect, but you can, whatever you do after that, failures, good things, bad things, as long as you learn from them and move on and then make different decisions, then that's just all about running a business, and it's problem solving constantly. So I just want to have you think about, is there something at the moment that you may be thinking, well, this is rubbish because of X, and actually, are you looking at it in the right way? Could you make other decisions? Could you move around this issue? Could you be a bit more dynamic with the business and how you deal with it? Because ultimately, the email that I received here, they are all things that I could help him solve. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to enjoy your business, and it is a complete journey. So don't expect it to be plain sailing, which I'm sure you know by now. And I hope this little tip gets your head out of the dirt and into the clouds to think about issues that are coming your way and how you can solve them and take total control and responsibility for them. And that's it from me. So I will see you next week when we get to episode 74, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.